All right, so the keynote presentation tonight is about buying, fixing, and flipping. And some of the questions we talked a little bit earlier were centered around how do I estimate repairs. So we're going to go through that process as well, and some of the tips and tricks we've learned since we've been investing since 2003. I will say, I talk to a lot of real estate investors who want to get started in investing with buying, fixing, and flipping. And the reason why they want to get started that way is because it's the most lucrative way to invest in real estate. But the truth is, there are a lot of ways that both you can make money and lose money as a real estate investor by buying, fixing, and flipping, because there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Some of those things that can go wrong are there's market risk, right? Did you accurately figure out what the ARV is, what the after repair value of that property is? Or did you use the information that you got from a wholesaler, which may or may not have been correct? Usually wholesalers, when they're giving you information on what the ARV is, usually those ARVs are overinflated by roughly about 10% of that number. And since your profit as a real estate investor is usually somewhere between 10 to 15% of the ARV, if you are already overestimating the ARV by 10%, now your profit goes from 10 to 15% to 0 to 5%. So you have to be very careful and use multiple sources to make sure that you've got the right number on that ARV. There's also project risk. There's contractor issues. I have fired probably half as many contractors as I have hired. It is hard to find a great contractor or and sometimes great subcontractors. And then sometimes you have project issues. Sometimes there are surprises for you as real estate investors. We talked about what some of those surprises are in terms of the plumbing issues under the slab is a big thing that a lot of new investors are not aware of, but they get the bill of $10,000 to $20,000 after they get started on the project, and it's a bill that they were not expecting. Market timing risk. If, for example, you got a $20,000 surprise and it took you another 4 months to finish that project, and you were supposed to hit the market window in July, but instead you hit it in November, which we commonly refer to as no man's land for real estate investors, you might be holding on to that property for another 3 to 4 months as the market starts to pick up into the spring selling season. And obviously all of the risks that come with overestimating ARV, underestimating rehab costs. I've got this quote that I've been saying, and I want you guys to tell me, so it's a very famous quote, I want you guys to tell me who said this. My renovation project came in on time and on budget. Who said that? Said no one. Ever, right? But why do most real estate investors, when they are doing the numbers, they only use one scenario when they are figuring out the numbers on their project? What scenario is that? It's the best case scenario where nothing goes wrong, but we all know that no one ever has said my project came in on time and on budget, right? So stop fooling yourself thinking that that is going to happen. Be prepared for, and I'll tell you one of the things that our business coach taught us very early on is to do best case, worst case, most likely case. Most new investors only use one case scenario, and that's the best case on steroids. So they use the highest ARV, they use the lowest repair estimates, they use the lowest holding costs. That's not how real life is, especially if you are investing and doing rehabs in the city of Austin. Why is that?
Permits.
The city, the permits, right? So if any of you guys have done, the city is not your partner. The city of Austin is not your partner. You're going to go in thinking, oh, I'm just going to do these 3 things, and then while they come in there, they're going to say, well, yeah, it's nice that you only wanted to get a permit to do these 3 things, but we're going to go ahead and ask you to rewire the entire house, and we're going to have to ask you to put in a new box on the exterior, and while we're here, we're going to ask you to put in some more insulation because Austin's a green city, which I'm a tree hugger myself, but I don't like to be dictated how much tree hugging I have to do by them telling me how much my R-level insulation has to be in my attic, but sometimes they will do these things which will add time to your project, which will add cost to your project, which will take money out of your project, your profit. So do be ready for that. So for a lot of investors who really just don't have a lot of information about investing yet, or they're just getting started, I'm not sure that I want you to be out there buying, fixing, and flipping, because there are a lot of risks, especially within the city of Austin. So let's talk, for those of you guys who are ready or want to understand the process, let's talk about the process quickly. We want you to do the marketing. I hope Phil took some time in here to talk to you guys about marketing. Yes? Okay, 3 of you. That's awesome. So we want you to do the marketing. We want you to find the property, right? And we want you to negotiate that property and get it under contract. What's changed as of February 12th, 2018 when it comes to the new contract? There's a new contract, right? So Trek published a new contract that became effective this last month that we want all of you guys to use. So it went from being a 9-page contract to now it's a 10-page contract. Don't let 10 pages worry you, scare you. It's going to be okay. It's kind of, the contract's kind of written Mad Lib style. So it's fill in the blank, and they gave you context clues. So where you're going to put in a dollar amount, they'll put in a dollar sign. Where you're going to put in a date, they give you a date, right? So they give you some context clues to figure it out. You might not be perfect, but you'll get really directional on it. We want you to use that Trek contract. There's too much risk using some of the one-page contracts that you might find on the internet. Don't recommend that at all. While you're under contract, or even before and even while you're under contract, finish your due diligence. What does that mean? Make sure that you have double verified that ARV. Make sure you have double verified those repair costs. Make sure you understand the market risk. What does that mean? We talked about days on market. We talked about months of inventory. We talked about them being historically low right now, and that is very true. But that's not for every property in the MLS. So make sure you understand, are you investing in a property that's going to be on and off the market in a month? Or are you going to be investing in a property that's going to be on and off the market in 6 months? Every price category, every neighborhood has different months of inventory and different days on market. You need to study for your particular subject property what it's going to look like for you. Get your money together. What are your sources of money? You've got your own personal money. You've got private money from other investors. You've got hard money. We have a lot of investors in the room that offer hard money services. You can even invest with your self-directed IRA money, as Keaton talked about earlier. I will say I've got a little asterisk by the private money or personal money. What does that mean? Why do I put that there? Some of you guys are really smart. Some of you guys in your jobs have made a lot of money. Some of you guys are too smart for your own good. Some of you guys are going to get a deal from a wholesaler, and that wholesaler is going to give you the comps, and it's going to give you the repair budget, and you're going to say, well, I've done the analysis, right? The numbers work on this deal, but you've put garbage in, meaning you put the wrong ARV and the wrong repairs, so you're getting garbage out that's informing your decision. The people who make the biggest mistakes as real estate investors early on are the ones who rely on one person to get their deal, and that same person to get all of the information to verify their deal, okay? I used to say, trust but verify. Now I just say, trust no one, verify everything. You have to have a great investor-friendly realtor on your power team to verify those comps. You have to have a great investor-friendly contractor to verify the repairs on that property. And the realtor will also help inform you of what those repairs should be. So do not be a fool who gets parted with their money. Get other eyes on that property. You can take your deal, if you guys want free coaching, free advice. I see some people in here want some free coaching. Yes? Yeah? Take your deal to a hard money lender, of which we have many as part of this association, and have them say, will you loan on this deal or not? If they say, I wouldn't touch that deal, what does that tell you? Your numbers are wrong. Don't do it, or go back to renegotiate it, right? So please, even if you are smart in your other career, even if you are educated, degreed, all these other different things, great, that's good for you, but what I want you to do is have somebody else put eyes on that deal, because there are too many things that can go wrong. And I'll tell you, a lot of these hard money lenders, they will say, oh yeah, I already looked at this deal 5 times today. I don't even want to go through it, but here's the 5 reasons why it's not a deal. Is that some of the best free coaching, free advice, free mentoring you've ever gotten in your entire life? Yes, right? So get somebody to have other eyes on your deals, someone who has more experience than you, someone who might be further along than you. After you get that money together, yes, go close on that deal. Now you've got to manage the remodel process. One of my tricks now, and I learned this the hard way, and I want to give it to you guys the easy way, is how to find a great contractor. Do you guys want this amazing, awesome tip? And this is a tip, you guys, free tip. You guys can do this right now. And had I have known this before I hired one contractor that I hired about 2 years ago, I would not have hired this contractor. Mugshots.com. Okay? Yeah. Now, none of us are perfect. I am certainly not perfect. Everyone in here has done something really stupid, I'm sure, right? But if your contractor did something really stupid yesterday that might affect the quality of work that they put into your project, wouldn't that be great to know? James, you can probably give me an amen on that, right? So some of us have more personal experience than others, right? But mugshots.com is a great resource for even the layperson to be able to do a little research on some folks. Like I said, I hired one contractor, but had I gone there first, some of the offenses that were against this person, I would not have hired this person. So also take a look at whatever work that they're doing for other people. If they don't have any jobs you can go and see, that is a signal to you. If they can't give you any of the names of other people that they work for and you can't go and take eyes on those projects, that is a signal to you. Please proceed with caution. But that's one of the things that I unfortunately have to do now. I will tell you another little tip about contractors. Every time, so as a real estate investor, anytime you, as any person who's running a business, anytime you pay someone more than $600, what do you have to do? You have to get a W-9, they fill out a W-9, and then you issue them a 1099 by January 31st of the next year. Every year, when I have a new contractor, I get a love letter from the IRS that says, hey, this name social security combination, yeah, there's no such animal. Yes, so they give you wrong socials, they give you wrong information. So then before you cut them the next check in the next year, you have to go back to them and say, hey, the IRS wrote me this, and literally I've had contractors who try and avoid a 1099. I had one, it was so funny. He tried to avoid a 1099, but one of my other investor colleagues I had introduced him to, so she was using him on one of her projects. So I'm like, hey, next time you give him his check, would you just hand him this too while you're there? And by the way, he's going to try to avoid your 1099 and give you the wrong address as well. So do be aware that kind of just comes with the territory with some contractors. But a couple of tips to make it a little easier for you guys. Deal with city permits, especially here in the Austin area. Inspectors, deal with project surprises. There will be project surprises. Guys, I'm over 14 years in and stuff still happens even to me. So again, don't just do best case scenario, do best case, worst case, most likely case. Make sure that you're still making money even if it is a worst case scenario type situation. Contractor surprises, vandalism. Nobody includes that in their bids, but I'll tell you, I've gotten some very strange and sometimes expensive stuff stolen from some of my remodel projects, and that's also part of it. Now, it's not going to happen on every project you do, but do be aware that that does happen, and it's one of, I always say you get these different stripes as a real estate investor. You know, it's like the Boy Scout, Cub Scout stripes is like, yeah, you sold popcorn. Yeah, you got vandalized. You know, yeah, you got a contractor that did you wrong. Yeah, you got this or that or the other thing. So that will happen to you as a real estate investor. Just be prepared for it. You're going to have to kind of keep pushing on. I had one of my colleagues, she's in Dallas. In Dallas, when they have a freeze storm, it can be quite severe. And the pipes inside of her house froze and burst and flooded her house as she was 95% through the remodel. So now she's got to spend another $20,000+ to go and remodel what she just remodeled. And the project was already tight going in, right? My renovation project came in on time and on budget, said no one ever. That is a truism, right? Hire a realtor after the project's done, put the property on the MLS. I highly recommend you stage your properties, even in this super red hot market, because most of us as real estate investors, we are trying to max the market out. We're trying to get the highest price because we've done a really super job on our remodel. The only way that you're going to get that, multiple offers above list price, same day it's listed, is if that property is staged. That's your best chance to get the highest price. For me, I don't just remove, so your staging contract is 30 days. For me, I won't remove the staging furniture until after my new buyer has gone through their appraisal process and the appraiser has taken pictures of the house with all the beautiful stuff in it. It passes through underwriting much easier in that way. And guys, I will say, Keaton's leading the way. Dennis has already led the way. Keaton's leading the way back there for you. He's finished with his presentation. He's going to get a little snack. We do have a little chips and guacamole and some quesadillas and chicken back there. So please, if you're hungry, you want a little snack, please go back there and help yourself. Prepare the property, put it on the MLS. Hopefully you're getting multiple offers above list price. While you're waiting for your offer, you will have to maintain that property. When you're maintaining the property in August, that means you have a $600 water bill as you're trying to keep a lawn from not being, crispy, crunchy brown. That's part of the process, right? Receive an offer, negotiate it. You have to go back and forth with countering, agree to the terms. I will say, guys, I'm going to give you another super tip, beyondmugshots.com. To be able to make sure that you get the most out of your sale. So sometimes, especially us as real estate investors who are building like beautiful homes, sometimes we'll be in a position where we get an offer, we listed it for $350, we get an offer for $380. And what are we thinking? What are we thinking? I'm worried this thing might not appraise. Yeah. And so what do you do if you're worried about that?
Well, you could put in special provisions that if it doesn't appraise, that the buyer is responsible to pay the difference.
Did you guys hear that? This is really important. This is really important. So in special provisions, whether you think it's going to appraise or not, but it's always good when you kind of are nervous that it may not appraise, you write in the special provisions, in the event that the house does not appraise for the sales price, the buyer agrees to increase their down payment in order to secure the mortgage. Everybody got that? In the event that the house does not appraise for the sales price, the buyer agrees to increase their down payment in order to secure the mortgage. Because otherwise what happens is this. A smart realtor's going to tell their client, let's go in there and do the highest offer they've ever seen in their entire life. Let's get ridiculous. I'm not worried about it, because this house is not going to appraise. There are no comps that support it. So when the appraisal comes back and it doesn't hit, then we're going to go back to the seller and say, what are you going to do? We're going to have to change the sales. I mean, this is all a bank will lend on it unless you put in that price. So most of us, we always say, like, don't count your eggs until they're hatched. This is a great way to protect those eggs, right? So sometimes a great realtor will come back and say, well, come on, let's put an upper limit on this thing. I don't want to have to bring more than $10,000. My client doesn't want to have to bring more than $10,000. Is that fair? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So you may have to negotiate what that is. Go under contract, have the buyer complete their inspections. Sometimes that means they'll renegotiate the contract. What does that mean? Sometimes they'll ask you to reduce the sales price. Sometimes they'll ask you to do repairs. Sometimes they'll ask you to reduce and repair. So do be aware of that. If you have multiple offers, cash offers, other people are coming in, man, you are in the catbird seat when it comes to negotiating, right? But if that's the only offer you have and it's the only offer you've seen in 6 months, yeah, you're gonna do whatever they ask. I mean, you're gonna negotiate, but you're gonna get it done so you don't lose that deal. Wait for the buyer's lender to start the loan process. Usually they don't tell you that, oh, by the way, you don't qualify for a loan, or this house does not qualify for a loan. up until right before you get to closing, which can be very frustrating, but it's just part of the process. Usually you have to extend the close date. I have probably seen maybe 10% of the houses that I've sold where the buyer was actually able to perform on the original timetable that they gave us. Most of the other time we're extending by 2, 3, 4, 5 days while the lender's getting other additional stuff together. What does that mean? One of my friends who just got a loan on a condo he bought, he said the lender asked him for his 3rd grade report card. So it took him a little while to find that, right? So some of the things that the lenders ask for those of you guys who've gotten loans recently, it's like, really? We're going there? But okay, so get ready to be prepared to extend that contract. Pray the buyer can extend the loan. Again, you may have to renegotiate the sales price in the event that appraisal does not come in at the sales price. Assuming everything goes as promised and as expected, you'll close on the property, you'll pick up your check, you'll cash it, you'll go and start, or you should already be starting your next deal, right? Let's talk about the offer formulas. I'm hoping all of you guys are already aware of this, but I'm going to put it up there just in case. We use what we call the maximum allowable offer formula. That's typically 70% of the ARV minus repairs, 70% of the after repair value minus the repairs that are needed on the property. So for example, if a house has an ARV of $400,000 and it needs $100,000 in repairs, what is the maximum allowable offer? I know. $180,000. You want to bring Jeffrey with you because he is a walking calculator. So $400,000 times 70% is $280,000. $280,000 minus the $100,000 in repairs is an offer price of $180,000. Now, if you make that offer price, typically you as a real estate investor are making somewhere between 10% is if you have hard money, right? Because hard money costs about 5% of your profits, to as good of a case as maybe 18% of your ARV, right? 15% is very typical. But 15% of your ARV means that you're making, or 10% of your ARV means you're making 15% of your ARV means you're making $60,000. That's how much you can expect to make. Too many new real estate investors say, well, the house is worth $400, but I'm only offering 70% of that, so I make that 30%, which is $120. No, you don't. I mean, in the magical fairy tale land, which HGTV lives in, where there have no closing costs, they have no holding costs, and they have no closing costs again when you go to resell it. Yeah, that's magical land. That's TV profit. That's something that we don't have as real estate investors. So again, that's why your profit is usually only 10 to 15% of your ARV. And this is also assuming, guys, that you pretty much nailed the ARV, and it's also assuming, guys, that you pretty much nailed the repair budget, which I'm extending you a lot of latitude, especially if you're brand new, So do be careful out there. We already went through some examples of what that formula looks like. Here's another one on a $200,000 property that needs $40,000 in repairs. That means you have an offer of $100,000. Some advanced offers. Guys, if you're just getting started, don't read this. Don't listen to this. Get some deals under your belt before you start varying from this offer strategy, this offer formula. But after you do have some deals under your belt, you can increase your offer if time value of money, if it's a quick renovation project, right? If it's low days on market, if it's low months of inventory. So you know instead of holding a property for 6 months, you're only going to hold it for about 2 months. Adjust your offer for renovation risk. So for example, if the property needs $30,000 worth of slab work, foundation work, and you're doing an addition, is that high risk or low risk? That's high risk, right? Are you going to pay more for a property that has high risk? No. But if the property is just a paint carpet, would you be willing? Yeah, I'd be willing to pay a little more because there's less risk of things that I might find out as I dig into the project. Just offers if you already have a buyer. So some of us already have a nice buyers list, right, with people that we can very quickly sell these properties to. and adjusted to hit a minimum profit dollar amount. What does that mean? When you're making $40,000 to $60,000, can you afford to pay a little more? Yes, right? You probably afford to pay $10,000 or $20,000 more in that, right? But when you're doing a $100,000 property, say in Taylor or in San Antonio, can you afford, where you're making somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000, can you afford to pay a little more? No, because if something goes wrong there, and what goes wrong? Oh, I didn't think I needed a new roof, but now I need a new roof, and that's going to be at least $5,000 to $7,000. I didn't think the air conditioner was working when I bought it. Now it's not. That's another $4,000 to $6,000, right? So I can take your $10,000 to $15,000 profit down to nothing or minimum wage very quickly, right? So you can adjust it to hit certain profit margins, but again, when you're negotiating with the seller, we always say negotiate the little numbers, don't negotiate the big numbers. So don't focus on that $400,000. Focus on, no, I'm not, making $120,000 here. I'm only making somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000, and that's assuming everything goes right. So negotiate your profit. Don't negotiate that sales price, because sales price, another $10,000. Yeah, that sounds easy, but when you look at it compared against your profit, it's much harder than it looks. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Analysis and due diligence. So as a rehab fix and flipper, you do have to be an expert at analysis and due diligence. You've got to get that ARV correct. You've got to get those repairs correct. So for me, what does that mean? So every project that I do a very detailed scope of work. You will live or you will die by your scope of work. For every $10,000 you are expecting to spend on your project, you should have at least a one-page scope of work. So if you're doing a $50,000 repair budget, you and your contractor should create a scope of work that is at least 5 pages long, okay? Most contractors want to give you a repair budget that says, fixed house, $35,000, half due now. That's not acceptable. You're going to end up, and it's going to be a problem. So for every $10,000 you spend, at least one-page scope of work, okay? Everybody got that? And get down to the details, every detail you can possibly think of. It takes a long time to do this. For me, it usually takes me about 2 hours at the property, and then at least another 2 hours typing it up back when I am in front of my computer. One of the little life hacks, investor hacks that I've started using is I use the voice memo on my phone. So I can very quickly go through each one of the rooms doing a voice memo. So I'm not trying to write down and hold something to try and do it like that. So that's one of the hacks that I use that saves me a lot of time. But there have been times, guys, when I have gotten lazy. It's like, I don't want to do that whole scope of work. And me and this contractor, we're like this, and he's done other work for me before. And every time I do that, that project costs me another $5,000 above what I thought, because I didn't write it down, and because my memory of what we said here is not the same as his, okay? So please protect yourself. When you're estimating the scope of work, so some of you guys want to know about estimating repairs, I always ask the same question, which is when I'm talking to the homeowner on the phone, I always ask the same question. Every question starts with the same phrase. When was the last time you updated fill in the blank? Too many new investors say, well, what's the condition of your property? Well, what would you do? Well, is the carpet okay? Or are there stains on it? No, who cares? That's subjective. You want objective questions, give you objective answers. Objective answers, you can put a dollar amount on, okay? So when was the last time? So if they say, the air conditioner's updated 8 years ago, are you good? Yeah, you're probably pretty good, right? There's going to be some stuff that comes up during the inspection report, but it's usually going to be under $500. If they say the last time I did a water heater was 15 years ago, are you good? No, you've got a problem. And you will, I've seen some water heaters that are like older than me. That's a lie. If you multiply them times 2, they're probably older than me. But I've seen some old water heaters, and that will give you great information. Just ask me, you say, I last replaced the carpet 2 years ago. The carpet's probably in pretty good shape, right? They say I last updated the carpet 10 years ago. Yeah, it needs to be updated again for resale. So you ask, when was the last time you updated the kitchen? When was the last time you updated the roof? When was the last time, you put a time frame on it, you'll be able to estimate these. Now, one final asterisk or tip is this. I'll tell you guys a personal story. I thought I had figured out real estate investing. I remember this was 9 years ago. And I was pregnant. And I was talking to this woman. And I was going through, when was the last time? She's like, oh, actually, we just, we bought the property like 3 years ago. We updated everything 2 years ago. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So we painted the entire house. We redid all the flooring. We put in new cabinets and countertops. We did a lot. So I'm thinking, I'm never going to call like this. This is like freaking awesome, right? This is like I want all my calls to be like this. I'm going in there thinking, this is going to be an easy remodel. I'm not going to have to do anything. And so first baby, first and only baby, I'm less than 3 months in. So what does that mean? I'm sensitive to smells. I don't even get inside the house. I'm on the front porch. Yeah, cats, dogs, ferrets. You know what ferrets do with their poop? You don't want to know. They don't eat it, they throw it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yes, and I'm pregnant. I'm like, I can't even but did they just recently do all that stuff? Yes, they did. So always ask the additional question, do you have any pets? And then always ask the additional pet question after that, which is,
How many? What kind?
I thought I heard somebody say it over here.
I say kids.
Jeffrey said, no, I did not say, but Jeffrey said, oh, and do you have any kids? Because can kids do a number on a house?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they certainly can. So with when was the last time, and do you have any pets, or do you have any kids, do you think you're getting pretty straight on the direction you're going? Yes, okay, so this is 14 years of investing tribal knowledge, okay? So you guys don't have to walk into a house and, well, you're still going to do that, because honestly, I mean, it's disgusting. It's Marilyn, okay, so you're pregnant, yeah? But that, my friends, is the smell of money, okay? That's a problem. That's the smell of money. So I want to make sure you guys have that. What else I want to go over with you real quick about that? So estimated cost, dollar per square foot. So if you're buying a house that was built, for example, before 1980, okay, and actually probably before 1975, in one of these kind of older neighborhoods, that's going to have an ARV of about $400,000, okay, that has a square footage of about 2,000 square feet. You're going to spend at least $100,000 renovating that property, okay? So it's about $50 a square foot. Now, that assumes your foundation is in good shape. Because if you have a $20,000, because foundation is the wild card, $20,000 foundation and $20,000 plumbing, that's on top of that $50 a square foot, okay? If you are building new or you are doing an addition, a small addition, you should budget at least $175 a square foot for like a 500 square foot addition. If you're building one of these little micro houses, 1,100 square feet, kind of downtown Austin, a secondary unit, you should have budget at least $175 a square foot. Okay? This is new build. Other places outside of the city of Austin, you can look at a number somewhere between $125 and $150 a square foot. That's how you estimate it. Does that make sense? Now, if you're building, so I gave you an example of a 1975 and older house that's selling for 400. If it's a 1975 and older house, 1980 and older house that you're selling for 800, yeah, you're going to spend a little more. You're going to spend at least $50,000 more. Okay, so it's a combination of age of property and ARV, and whether or not you're doing it in the city of Austin. Cole, did they mention any of this on any of the online sites that you've been getting your information on? No! Oh my gosh! They only say it at the local RIA where people are living here and investing here and working here and have the tribal knowledge. What a shocker! This is why people join our group. This is why people join our association for awesome information like that. Should you think it's awesome. Again, do best case, worst case, most likely case. Almost 14 and a half years in, I still do best case, worst case, most likely case. If you are just getting started, don't you think you should do best case, worst case, most likely case? It will inform your decisions, I promise, and will help you. Estimating repairs, so I do a little one-page sheet where I look at both exterior stuff and interior stuff. That way, when I'm walking through the house, I'm like, because if I don't have this with me, I'm going to forget to look at the date on the water heater. Or I'm going to forget to look at the date on the air conditioning unit, which means I'm going to have to call back or have the homeowner take a picture and text it to, or I'm going to have to go and do some additional analysis and due diligence. Bring something with you, just kind of keep you a checklist, because it's also easy to get off track as you're talking with the seller and you're walking through the property. It's just easy to get distracted, okay? So bring something with you. And also I do, on my sheet, I do best case scenario, worst case scenario, right? That's how I was trained. And then that way when I show it to the seller, which I sometimes do, I'm like, well, it's printed here, so it must be accurate, right? Earnest money, option money. For us, we use anywhere from $10 to $100 earnest money when we're buying, okay? We use $10 option money when we're buying. Now, and some of the realtors in the room are looking at me sideways. When we buy a house, guys, the houses we buy, are they perfect? Are they in perfect condition? No. The houses we buy sometimes have sunroofs on the inside, right? Sometimes they don't have any working plumbing or electrical, right? These are not like, MLS ready, retail ready houses. These are, in many cases, shit boxes. You can quote me on that. Shit boxes are the ones that we buy, right? Now, when we go to resell these properties and they are in perfect condition and we put them on the MLS, we are getting 1% of the sales price for the earnest money. So if it's a $400,000 house, our expectation is that buyer is going to put 1% or $4,000 down in earnest money. Our expectation is that buyer is going to put somewhere between $100 and $300 to $500 in option money, depending on how many offers we have. They're getting more and more aggressive, right? The truth about fixing and flipping. And before I do this, we have our Listing Spark rep here. Will you just tell them a little bit about how you can help them? I announced you, by the way. Okay. Were you in the room when I did that? I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Will you just tell them a little bit about how you can help them?
So we have a listing service. It's actually kind of revolutionizing the way that we're doing, or that we're helping real estate investors with you guys. What we do is we list your houses on the MLS for $7 a day. We want you to keep those listing commissions in your pocket. By listing on the MLS, we will also syndicate to Realtor.com, we'll syndicate to Redfin.com, to Trulia, to HotPass, all the major real estate websites. We will provide you with high-quality photos. We will next day you a sign as well as a super lockbox. With a super lockbox, we're also able to notify you every time somebody shows your house. We can update you with market analysis to help with your pricing, and we can also notify you with any changes in the market and within your property. Last but not least, we are present in the major markets here in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Corpus Christi, you name it, everything in their suburbs, and we will be present in the Florida market starting next month as well. So we are growing pretty quickly. Again, $7 a day. We don't charge a listing commission. We don't charge any cancellation fees, and you can cancel at any time as well.
She said it way better than I did. Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure you got in there. So thank you for saying. Thank you for being part of our organization too. Appreciate that. So to wrap it up, the truth about buying, fixing, and flipping, it's exciting, it's profitable, it's probably what brought most of you guys here, right, watching something on HGTV. But the truth is there are also a lot of ways that you can screw this up pretty badly. And Phil and I mean, there are a lot of people who come here from out of town to teach you guys about real estate investing, and they're going to rah-rah and cheer, and it's going to be like the most exciting thing you've ever seen in your life. But when Phil and I do this, man, we do the truth and the whole truth and tell you that there are equally as many ways that you can screw this thing up. It's not to be a wet blanket, but it is to be real based on our experience and us watching other people that invest being part of this association. So do be aware of that. That's not always the best getting started strategy unless you have another investor who is with you, part of your team, who can do eyes on it, because there is a lot of risk. Finding a great contractor is tough. There will be surprises, especially in the city of Austin. But once you kind of navigate through it a couple of times, figure it out, get some of those best practices in, it is a great strategy to make a lot of money as a real estate investor. And as long as you keep that pipeline of deals full and don't get into your projects doing the work yourself, you'll be able to make a lot of money doing this. And again, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. Hope you learned at least one thing that will help you in your real estate investing. And we'll see you at our 3-day training event and at our next RIA meeting, which is going to be on the first Tuesday of April. Thank you guys.